I expected to wake up to the sound of my grandchildren running down the hallway. I expected the smell of coffee brewing and the warmth of a house full of family. Instead, I found cold sheets, an empty guest room, and a note on the kitchen counter that would change everything I thought I knew about my own daughter. My name is Richard. I'm 62 years old, and I spent 38 years building a software company from nothing. I started in my garage in 1986 with a used computer and a dream. By the time I sold the company in 2019, it was worth $47 million. But this story isn't about money. Not really. It's about what happens when you give everything you have to the people you love, and they decide you're worth nothing more than your bank account. Let me take you back to the beginning. My wife, Helen, passed away 6 years ago. Pancreatic cancer. She was diagnosed in March and gone by July, 53 years old. We had 31 beautiful years together, and not a day goes by that I don't miss her. When she died, I made a promise to myself. I would take care of our daughter, Emily, and her family the way Helen would have wanted. I would be there for every birthday, every holiday, every milestone. I would make sure they never wanted for anything. Emily is my only child. She's 34 now, married to a man named Derek for 8 years. They have 2 kids, my grandchildren. Lily is 7, and Marcus is 5. Those kids are my whole world. After Helen passed, they became my reason to keep going. Derek works as a regional manager for a retail chain. He makes decent money, around $85,000 a year. But with 2 kids, a mortgage, and the cost of living in Northern Virginia, decent money doesn't go very far. So I helped. I helped a lot. When they bought their house 5 years ago, I put down the $60,000 down payment. When Emily wanted to stay home with the kids for the first few years, I covered their mortgage payments, $1,800 a month for 3 years. When Derek's car broke down, I bought him a new one, a Honda Accord. Nothing fancy, but reliable, $28,000. When Lily needed speech therapy that insurance wouldn't cover, I paid for it, $400 a week for 2 years. I never kept a running total. That wasn't the point. The point was family. The point was making sure my grandchildren had everything they needed. The point was honoring Helen's memory by being the kind of father and grandfather she would have been proud of. But looking back now, I realize I should have been paying closer attention. There were signs. Small things I dismissed because I didn't want to see them. Like the way Derek would roll his eyes when I offered to help with something. Or the way Emily would say, "Thanks, Dad," in that flat tone that didn't sound like gratitude at all. Or the way they'd exchange glances when they thought I wasn't looking. Glances that seemed to say something I couldn't quite decode. I told myself I was imagining things. I told myself they were just stressed, just tired, just dealing with the pressures of raising young kids. I told myself that my help was appreciated, even if they didn't always show it. I was wrong. This past Thanksgiving was supposed to be special. It was the first one where I felt like I was finally coming out of the fog of grief. 6 years is a long time, but losing your wife doesn't come with a timeline for healing. Some days are better than others. Some holidays are harder than others. But this year, I was ready. I was ready to host Thanksgiving at my house, the way Helen and I used to do it. I have a nice house, 5 bedrooms, 4 bathrooms, a big backyard with a pool. I bought it in 2015 when the company was doing well. Helen loved that house. She decorated every room herself. When she got sick, she made me promise not to sell it. "Keep it for the grandchildren," she said. "They'll need somewhere to make memories." So I kept it. And I decided this Thanksgiving would be the start of something new. A new tradition, a new chapter. I invited Emily, Derek, and the kids to stay for the whole week, Wednesday through Sunday. 5 days of family time. I hired a catering company to handle the big meal so I wouldn't have to stress about cooking. I bought new bedding for the guest rooms. I stocked the pantry with all the kids' favorite snacks. I even had the pool heated so they could swim, even though it was late November in Virginia and the nights were getting cold. Total cost for the week? About $12,000 when you added up the catering, the groceries, the pool heating, the activities I had planned. But I didn't care about the money. I cared about seeing my grandchildren's faces light up when they walked through the door. I cared about sitting around the table with my family, the way Helen would have wanted. Emily called me the Sunday before Thanksgiving. "Dad, we're so excited for this week," she said. "The kids have been talking about it nonstop. I can't wait to see them," I said. "I've got the whole week planned out. Wednesday we can go to that new trampoline park. Thursday is obviously the big meal. Friday I thought we could do a movie marathon. Saturday maybe the zoo if the weather's nice. Sunday we can just relax before you head home." "That sounds perfect," Emily said. "Derek and I really appreciate everything you do for us, Dad. We don't say it enough." Those words. I remember them exactly. We don't say it enough. At the time, I thought she was being sincere. I thought maybe I had been wrong about those looks, those eye rolls, those flat thank yous. I thought maybe my daughter was finally seeing how much I loved her, how much I did for her family. I was such a fool. They were supposed to arrive Wednesday afternoon. I took the day off from my volunteer work at the Veterans Center. I spent the morning making sure everything was perfect. Fresh flowers on the dining table, the guest rooms aired out and ready, the refrigerator stocked. The Christmas decorations I'd put up early because the kids loved them. By 3 o'clock, they weren't there. I texted Emily. "Hey, sweetie, what's your ETA?" No response. By 4 o'clock, nothing. I called. Straight to voicemail. By 5 o'clock, I was starting to worry. I called Derek's phone. Also voicemail. By 6 o'clock, I was pacing the living room, convinced something terrible had happened. A car accident. A medical emergency. Something. At 6:30, I got a text from Emily. "Dad, I'm so sorry. Something came up. We can't make it this week. I'll explain later. Love you." That was it. No phone call, no explanation. Just a text message, cold and brief, telling me that the week I'd been planning for months, the week I'd spent $12,000 preparing for, the week I'd been looking forward to more than anything, wasn't happening. I tried calling her. Voicemail. I tried calling Derek. Voicemail. I sent text after text. "What happened? Is everyone okay? Please call me. I'm worried." Nothing. I didn't sleep that night. I sat in my living room, surrounded by decorations and prepared food, trying to understand what could have possibly happened. Were the kids sick? Was there an emergency at Derek's work? Had something happened to one of their friends? The next morning was Thanksgiving Day. I woke up at 5 a.m. after maybe 2 hours of restless sleep. I checked my phone immediately. Nothing from Emily. Nothing from Derek. I made coffee and sat at the kitchen table, staring at the chair where Helen used to sit. This was supposed to be different. This was supposed to be the year I finally felt whole again. Instead, I was alone. Again. At around 9 in the morning, my phone buzzed. A notification from Facebook. I don't use social media much. Helen was the one who kept up with all that. But I still have an account, mostly to see pictures of the grandchildren that Emily posts. The notification was that I'd been tagged in a photo by my brother, Gerald. I opened Facebook and felt my heart stop. The photo was of Emily, Derek, Lily, and Marcus. They were standing in front of a beautiful mountain lodge, covered in snow. The caption read, "Happy Thanksgiving from Aspen. So grateful to spend the holiday with our favorite people." The photo was posted by Derek's mother, Patricia. I stared at my phone for what felt like hours. My hands were shaking. My chest felt tight. I scrolled through the comments. "Beautiful family," wrote someone I didn't know. "Aspen looks amazing," wrote another. "So glad you could all make it," wrote Patricia's sister. And then I saw it. A comment from Emily. "Best Thanksgiving ever. Thanks, Mom and Dad, for making this happen." Mom and Dad. She called Patricia and her husband Mom and Dad. I felt like I'd been punched in the stomach. My daughter had canceled on me, lied to me, and gone to Aspen with her in-laws for Thanksgiving. She was calling them Mom and Dad. Meanwhile, I was sitting alone in my 5-bedroom house, surrounded by food that would go to waste and decorations that no one would see. Something came up. That's what she said. Something came up. No, nothing came up. She just chose them over me. And she didn't even have the decency to tell me the truth. I spent Thanksgiving Day alone. I ate leftover Chinese food from the refrigerator and watched football games I didn't care about. I tried calling Emily 3 more times. She didn't answer. I sent her a text asking her to please call me when she had a chance. She replied with a single word, later. Later never came. On Friday, I made a decision. I was going to find out the truth. All of it. I'm not proud of what I did next, but I'm not going to lie about it either. 2 years ago, when Lily was starting to use an iPad, Emily asked me to set up the family's Apple accounts. She wanted everything connected so she could monitor what the kids were watching. I set up a family sharing plan with my own Apple ID as the administrator. I never thought twice about it. I never used that access for anything. But now, sitting in my empty house on the day after Thanksgiving, I realized I could see Emily's text messages through the family sharing iCloud backup. I hesitated. This was a violation of her privacy. This was something I never would have done under normal circumstances. But these weren't normal circumstances. My daughter had lied to me, abandoned me on a holiday, and I deserved to know why. I logged into the iCloud account and found Emily's backup. It took me about an hour to figure out how to access the messages. I'm 62 years old. I'm good with technology, but not that good. Eventually, I found what I was looking for. There was a group chat. Emily, Derek, Patricia, and Patricia's husband, Tom. The chat was titled Turkey Day Planning. I started reading from the beginning. The first message was from 3 weeks before Thanksgiving. Patricia, Tom and I found an amazing deal on a cabin in Aspen. 5 nights for only $3,000. Who's in? Derek, that sounds incredible. But we already told Emily's dad we'd spend Thanksgiving at his place. Patricia, can't you just tell him something came up? He'll understand. Emily, I don't know. He's been planning this for months. He'll be really hurt. Patricia, honey, you spend every holiday with him. It's our turn. Besides, Aspen is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Your father can wait. Emily, I guess you're right. It has been a lot of time at his house lately. Derek, what do we tell him? Patricia, just say something came up. Keep it vague. He doesn't need details. Emily, okay. I feel bad, but you're right. He does get a little overwhelming sometimes. I had to stop reading. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. Overwhelming. She thought I was overwhelming. I took a breath and kept reading. The messages continued over the next few weeks. They discussed flights, packing lists, activities in Aspen, and then, the day before they were supposed to come to my house, there was a new thread of messages. Emily, I just talked to my dad. He's so excited. I feel terrible. Derek, it's fine. He's got plenty of money. He can find something else to do. Emily, that's not really the point. Patricia, sweetie, your father has been smothering you for years. Ever since your mother died, he's latched onto your family like a lifeline. It's not healthy, for him or for you. Emily, I know. I just feel guilty. Patricia, don't. You're allowed to have your own life. You're allowed to make choices that aren't centered around him. He'll survive one Thanksgiving alone. Emily, you're right. I know you're right. Derek, besides, it's not like he can't afford to eat at a restaurant or something. The man is loaded. Patricia, exactly. Richard has more money than he knows what to do with. That's probably why he throws it at you all the time. It makes him feel useful. Emily, Mom, that's not fair. Patricia, I'm just saying what everyone's thinking. He uses money to control you, to keep you close. It's manipulation, even if he doesn't realize it. Emily, I never thought about it that way. Derek, my mom's got a point. Every time we try to do something on our own, your dad swoops in with his checkbook. It's like he doesn't trust us to handle our own lives. Emily, I guess that's true. He did insist on paying for the speech therapy, even though we said we'd figure it out. Patricia, see? Control. He needs to learn that you're an adult, that you don't need him hovering over you. Emily, you're right. Okay, I'm not going to feel guilty anymore. We deserve this trip. Derek, that's my girl. I read every message, every single one. And the more I read, the sicker I felt. These people, my daughter, her husband, his parents, they saw me as a burden, a smothering, controlling, overwhelming burden, who threw money at them to keep them close. They thought I was manipulating them. They thought my love was a leash. 47 years of work, hundreds of thousands of dollars, countless hours of babysitting, planning, supporting, loving, and this is what they thought of me. I thought about Helen. What would she say if she could see this? What would she think of the daughter we raised together? The daughter who was now calling her in-laws mom and dad while dismissing her own father as smothering and overwhelming. She would be devastated. Absolutely devastated. I closed the iCloud page. I sat in my chair for a long time, not moving, not thinking, just feeling. Feeling betrayed, feeling used, feeling like the biggest fool who ever lived. And then something changed. The sadness and hurt began to harden into something else. Something colder. Something quieter. I made a decision. Not in anger, not in the heat of the moment, but with the calm, calculated precision that had made me successful in business for 4 decades. My daughter wanted to be free of my smothering, my controlling money. Fine. I would give her exactly what she wanted. I picked up my phone and called my lawyer, Ben Martinez. Ben and I had worked together for 20 years. He handled the sale of my company. He'd drawn up my will. He knew my finances inside and out. "Richard," Ben said when he answered. "Happy Thanksgiving. Everything okay?" "No," I said. "I need you in my office tomorrow morning. And bring someone from your estate planning team. Tomorrow's the day after Thanksgiving. I'll pay triple your usual rate. This can't wait." There was a pause. "I'll be there at 9. I also called my accountant, Sandra. Same deal. Triple rate for coming in on a holiday weekend." She agreed. That night, I made a list. A detailed, comprehensive list of every financial tie between me and my daughter's family. The down payment on the house, $60,000. The 3 years of mortgage payments, $64,800. The car for Derek, $28,000. The speech therapy for Lily, $41,600. The private school tuition I'd been paying for both kids, $24,000 per year. I'd paid for 3 years so far, $72,000. The monthly allowance I sent Emily, $2,000 per month for the past 4 years, since she decided to work part-time instead of full-time, $96,000. The vacation to Hawaii 2 summers ago, I paid for the whole family, $18,000. The new roof they needed last year, $14,000. The credit card I added Emily to, which she used for groceries and household expenses. I checked the statements. $47,000 over the past 3 years. When I added it all up, the total was $441,400. Almost $500,000 I'd given my daughter and her family over the past 6 years. And they thought I was controlling. They thought I was smothering. They wanted to be free. They were about to get their wish. Ben and Sandra arrived at my home office at 9 the next morning. I served them coffee and laid out everything I'd discovered. The canceled Thanksgiving, the Aspen trip, the group chat messages, the list of financial support. Ben listened without interrupting. When I finished, he let out a long breath. "Richard, I'm sorry. This is a lot to process." "I've processed it," I said. "Now I need to act. What are my options?" Sandra pulled out a folder. "Let's start with the ongoing financial commitments. The monthly allowance, the school tuition, the credit card. All of those are voluntary gifts. You can stop them at any time." "Do it," I said. "Cancel all of it, effective immediately." Ben nodded. "The credit card is probably the easiest. You can call the company today and remove her as an authorized user. The school tuition. You'll need to contact the school and let them know you won't be paying for next semester." "What about the money I've already given them? The down payment, the mortgage payments, the car?" Sandra shook her head. "Those were gifts, Richard. Legally, they're gone. You can't demand that money back." "I understand that. But the mortgage, it's in my name, isn't it? I co-signed the loan because they couldn't qualify on their own." Ben and Sandra exchanged looks. "Yes," Ben said slowly. "You're a co-signer. So, if I wanted to remove myself from that loan, what would happen? The bank would require them to refinance on their own. If they can't qualify, which they probably can't given their income and debt-to-income ratio, the bank might call the loan. They'd have to pay it off in full or face foreclosure. I want to remove myself from the loan. Ben set down his coffee cup. Richard, are you sure? That could destroy their financial future? I thought about the messages. The smothering. The controlling. The we deserve this trip. They want to stand on their own, I said. I'm giving them the opportunity. We spent the next 4 hours going over every detail. Here's what I decided. 1. Cancel the credit card access immediately. 2. Stop the monthly allowance. 3. Contact the private school and inform them I will not be paying for the spring semester. The kids would need to transfer to public school, or their parents would need to find the money themselves. 4. Send a formal letter to the bank requesting to be removed as co-signer on the mortgage. This would trigger a refinancing requirement. 5. Remove Emily from my will entirely. Originally, she was set to inherit 70% of my estate, which was currently valued at around $12 million after taxes. I had the lawyers draft a new will, leaving everything to a scholarship fund I would establish in Helen's name. 6. Change the beneficiary on my life insurance policy. Same thing. Emily was removed, replaced by the scholarship fund. 7. Close the family trust I had set up for Lily and Marcus's college education. The trust had $200,000 in it. I liquidated it and donated the money to St. Jude Children's Hospital. The lawyers worked through the weekend. By Monday morning, everything was in motion. I knew it would take a few days for the dominoes to fall. Emily would notice the credit card was declined. She'd see the allowance didn't hit their account. The school would send a notice about the unpaid tuition. The bank would send a letter about the mortgage. But before any of that happened, I wanted to talk to my daughter one more time. Not to yell, not to accuse. I just wanted to hear what she had to say. She finally called me on Sunday evening. I had been waiting. "Hey, Dad," she said. Her voice was casual, like nothing had happened. "Sorry I haven't called. Aspen was crazy busy." "I know," I said. "I saw the pictures on Facebook." Silence. "Dad, I can explain." "Please do," she sighed. "Look, Derek's parents invited us months ago. It was supposed to be a surprise for the kids. We didn't know how to tell you, and then it just got complicated. You told me something came up." "I know. I'm sorry. I should have been honest. But I knew you'd be upset, and I didn't want to deal with that before the trip. Deal with that. Like my feelings were an inconvenience. Emily, I spent $12,000 preparing for your visit. I hired caterers. I heated the pool. I took time off from my volunteer work. I know, Dad, and I appreciate it. But sometimes things don't work out. We can do Thanksgiving next year. I read your messages." Silence. Long silence. "What messages?" "The group chat. Turkey Day planning. You, Derek, Patricia, Tom. I read everything. How did you—" She trailed off. "Dad, you had no right to read my private messages. And you had every right to call me smothering? Controlling? To say I throw money at you? To manipulate you? I didn't. That was taken out of context." "Really? Which part?" "The part where Patricia said I use money to control you? The part where Derek said I'm loaded and can afford to eat at a restaurant? The part where you agreed that I was overwhelming and you didn't need me hovering over you?" Emily started crying. "Dad, you don't understand. Patricia she has strong opinions. I didn't mean those things. But you said them. You agreed with them. And then you went to Aspen and called her mom. That's what Derek's siblings call her. It's a habit. Your mother has been dead for 6 years, Emily. Helen, your actual mother. Do you even remember her?" "Of course I remember her. Don't you dare say that to me." "Then why are you calling someone else, Mom? Why are you spending holidays with someone else's family while your own father sits alone in an empty house?" "Because sometimes I need space, Dad. Ever since Mom died, you've been suffocating me. Every holiday, every birthday, every weekend. You're always there with your money and your plans and your expectations. I can't breathe." I let her words hang in the air. When I spoke again, my voice was calm. I understand. You need space. You want to be free of my suffocating presence and my controlling money. I'm going to give you exactly what you want. What do you mean? The credit card has been canceled. The monthly allowance is stopped. Lily and Marcus will need to transfer to public school because I won't be paying their tuition anymore. And I've notified the bank that I'm removing myself as co-signer on your mortgage. You'll need to refinance or pay off the loan. Silence. Complete silence. Dad, you can't do that. It's already done. We'll lose the house. That's between you and the bank. I'm no longer involved. What about the kids? Their school? Public schools are perfectly good. I went to public school. Your mother went to public school. Dad, please. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean what I said in those messages. I was venting. Patricia pushed me to say those things. Nobody pushed you, Emily. You made your choice. You chose them over me. Now I'm making my choice. This isn't fair. Fair? Let me tell you what's not fair. What's not fair is giving your family $441,000 over 6 years and being called controlling. What's not fair is planning a holiday for months and being abandoned with a text message. What's not fair is being told you're overwhelming by a daughter who never once said no to a single check I wrote. Emily was sobbing now. Please, Dad. I'll apologize. I'll do whatever you want. Just don't do this. I don't want anything from you. That's the point. You wanted to be free of my money and my presence. Consider yourself free. What about Lily and Marcus? They're your grandchildren. That one hit harder than I expected. I had to take a breath before answering. I love those kids more than you can imagine. But I won't be used as an ATM while being mocked behind my back. If you want me to have a relationship with them, it will be on my terms, not Patricia's, not Derek's. What terms? I don't know yet. I need time to think. But until then, the financial support is gone. All of it. Emily tried to argue. She tried to explain. She tried to apologize. Over and over. But I had heard enough apologies. I had heard enough explanations. I ended the call. Over the next 2 weeks, the dominoes fell exactly as I expected. Derek called me 3 times. Each call was angrier than the last. He threatened to sue me. He called me names I won't repeat. He said I was destroying their family. I didn't engage. I simply said, "Your wife wanted space from my controlling money. I'm honoring her wishes." Patricia called once. She had the audacity to lecture me about family obligations and Christian forgiveness. I hung up on her after 30 seconds. The school sent a formal notice that the kids would be unenrolled if tuition wasn't paid by December 15th. Emily called me crying, begging me to reconsider. I told her the answer was no. The bank sent a letter giving them 60 days to refinance the mortgage. Emily called again, this time screaming. She said I was evil. She said I was ruining their lives. She said her mother would be ashamed of me. That last one made me laugh. Your mother read people better than anyone I knew. She would have seen through Patricia's manipulation from day one, and she would have been heartbroken by what you became. The calls stopped after that. December was quiet. I spent Christmas alone, but it felt different than Thanksgiving. On Thanksgiving, I had been blindsided, hurt, lost. On Christmas, I was at peace. Sad, yes, but at peace with my decision. I donated the money I would have spent on gifts for Emily's family to the Helen Carter Memorial Scholarship Fund, $10,000 that would help a young woman from a low-income family attend college. Helen would have loved that. In January, I got a letter from a lawyer, Derek's lawyer. They were threatening to sue me for breach of implied contract, claiming I had established a pattern of support that they had relied upon in making financial decisions. Ben laughed when I showed him the letter. "That's not how contract law works," he said. "Gifts are gifts. There's no implied obligation to continue giving them." He sent back a letter explaining this in precise legal terms. I never heard from Derek's lawyer again. In February, I got word through a mutual friend that Emily and Derek had been unable to refinance the mortgage. The bank foreclosed on the house. They moved into a rental apartment in a less desirable part of town. The kids were now in public school, part of me felt guilty. A small part. But then I remembered those messages. The smothering, the controlling, the "we deserve this trip," and the guilt faded. In March, Emily sent me a long email. It was the first communication I'd had from her in 2 months. The email was different from her phone calls, calmer, more reflective. She said she'd been seeing a therapist. She said she was starting to understand how Patricia had influenced her thinking. She said she realized how much I had done for her family and how poorly she had repaid that generosity. She said she was sorry, truly sorry. Not sorry because she wanted money. Sorry because she understood now how much she had hurt me. She asked if we could meet for coffee. Just the two of us. No Derek, no Patricia. Just a father and daughter trying to find their way back to each other. I didn't respond right away. I needed to think. A week later, I wrote back. I told her I appreciated her email. I told her I was glad she was seeing a therapist. I told her that rebuilding our relationship would take time. A lot of time. And it would have to start from scratch, with no financial ties between us. She agreed. We met at a coffee shop near my house on a Sunday afternoon. She looked tired, older than her 34 years. The stress of the past few months was written on her face. We talked for 2 hours. She told me about the foreclosure, the move, the kids adjusting to their new school. She told me about the fights she'd been having with Derek, who blamed her for everything. She told me about cutting ties with Patricia, who had said horrible things about me after the money stopped. I listened. I didn't gloat. I didn't say I told you so. I just listened. When it was time to leave, Emily looked at me with tears in her eyes. I don't expect you to forgive me, she said. I'm not sure I would forgive me, but I want you to know that I love you, Dad. I always have. I just lost my way for a while. I nodded. I love you too, Emily. I never stopped. But love isn't enough. Not anymore. We need to rebuild trust. And that's going to take a long time. She understood. She didn't ask for money. She didn't ask for help with the apartment or the school or anything else. She just said, I know, and I'm willing to do the work. That was 6 months ago. We've had coffee 3 more times since then. We've talked on the phone a few times. It's awkward and painful and slow, but it's something. Last month, Emily told me she's filing for divorce. Derek, it turns out, wasn't just lazy with money. He was also having an affair with a coworker. Had been for 2 years. When the financial stress got bad, his mistress got tired of waiting and gave him an ultimatum. He chose her. Emily is devastated. But she's also stronger than she used to be. The therapist has helped. Losing everything and having to rebuild has helped. Learning the hard way, what really matters, has helped. I offered to help her with a lawyer for the divorce. Not a gift, a loan, with proper paperwork, to be repaid over time. She accepted. I've started seeing Lily and Marcus again. Once a month, they come to my house for the afternoon. We swim in the pool, we play board games, we eat pizza, and watch movies. They don't fully understand what happened between their mother and me. They just know that Grandpa was gone for a while, and now he's back. Last week, Marcus looked up at me and said, Grandpa, I missed you. I had to leave the room so he wouldn't see me cry. I'm 62 years old. I've learned a lot of lessons in my life, but the hardest one came in the past year. Love doesn't mean letting people take advantage of you. Generosity doesn't mean accepting disrespect. And family, real family, is about more than blood. It's about mutual respect, honesty, and showing up when it matters. My daughter made mistakes, big ones, but she's trying to make amends. Whether our relationship will ever fully recover, I don't know. But at least she's trying, and for now, that's enough. As for Derek and Patricia, I haven't spoken to them since that first phone call. I don't plan to ever speak to them again. Some bridges aren't meant to be rebuilt. They're meant to stay burned, as a reminder of what happens when you take people for granted. Helen used to say that you can tell a lot about someone by how they treat the people who can't do anything for them. I think she was right, but I'd add something to that wisdom. You can also tell a lot about someone by how they treat the people who do everything for them. I did everything for my daughter, and for a while, she forgot what that meant. She forgot who I was. She let other people convince her that my love was suffocation, that my generosity was control. She knows better now. The lesson was expensive. $441,000 expensive, plus a house, plus a marriage, plus her pride. But some lessons need to be expensive. Otherwise, they don't stick. If you're watching this and you have a parent who helps you, who shows up for you, who gives without expecting anything in return, take a moment to appreciate them. Call them, thank them. Not because you want something, but because they deserve to know they matter. And if you're a parent who's being taken for granted by your own children, know this. You have the right to set boundaries. You have the right to demand respect. You have the right to stop giving to people who don't appreciate it. Your money is not love. Your support is not an obligation. And your worth is not measured by how much you can provide. Remember that. I wish I had remembered it sooner. My name is Richard. I'm 62 years old. And this is my story. If you want to hear what happens next, subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. And if this story resonated with you, leave a comment below. I read every single one. To watch another story like this, click the video on your screen now. I'll see you in the next one.